So big problem with rice and grains. What's going on globally that can cause, food prices to go up, not only within your country, but globally, right? When it comes to food at home, food at the groceries, getting food there, getting food at the restaurants. When we look at the next inflation reports, right, you see that food tends to be sticky in terms of its prices, and it hasn't come down yet, affecting consumers? I mean, is this going to continue to get worse off? Is this going to get better? I mean, according to some articles that have come out, I'm going to share with you in a couple minutes or seconds actually, there's a big problem with rice and with grains. So, this first article here, it says India's rice export bans triggers panic buying in the US. The Food and Consumer Affairs Ministry on July 20th banned the export of non-basmati white rice with immediate effect to stabilize the volatile retail price in the country. Rice production has also taken a big hit due to heavy weather. The monsoon rains, which definitely affected in rice producing states in the north, and several parts in the country in India. So this is why the country decided to go with this ban, is because they're having their own supply problems there and higher prices. They want to control the prices of food, especially in certain states. And we've seen this previously before from India, right? And I talked about this in a video previously as well, that with this whole COVID thing that came out, and with the shutdown and the lockdowns and the borders being closed, you did see India and other countries basically slow down or completely ban certain exports because they were keeping those items within their country. And this is very worrisome because it brings back to the idea of a resource war, right? What does that mean, a resource war, right? Like if there's countries that have problem with supply in with producing certain products due to weather, or it could be, some tensions within with other countries, definitely you could see country to country fight each other off by shutting off certain resources. And India did do that with its food, with its grains before, because again, they had problems with the prices, and they had problems with the supply. And when that happens, it doesn't affect only India itself, but it affects the importers, the other countries around the world that do depend on this food and the rice and grains and so on. So when this happens, it's causing the prices of food to go up. It's causing people's bank accounts and their finances to be affected, because you're seeing not only inflation in food but other areas as well. The IMF also came out and talked about grains. What did the IMF say? The IMF said grain prices could rise up to 15% from the Black Sea deal pause. What's going on there? Well, they said global grain prices could increase as much as 15% after Russia pulled out of a deal that allowed Ukraine to safely ship its grains through ports on the Black Sea, according to the IMF. It's very clear that the Black Sea Grain Initiative was very instrumental in making sure that there will be ample grain supply to the world in the last year. The same mechanics work in reverse, and it's likely to put upward pressure on food prices. While the IMF is still assessing its forecasts on the effects of Russia's action, a range of 10 to 15% increase in prices of grains is a reasonable estimate. And it could get worse, or it could, maybe get better. We don't know, right? Depending on how long this constraint happens or how long it lasts for. So you got issues with the weather. I mean, you must be seeing it with where you're living, crazy weather. I mean, I'm seeing it where I'm living, right? You have these issues and these tensions still going on between country and country, especially now with this Ukraine and Russia deal falling through. And now IMF saying that, hey, watch out, you could see grain prices go up by 15%. So while tensions are still there, and to add on the weather conditions, these commodities are very important to follow and watch, because this can cause the central banks to react and change their tone. I mean, like we've been seeing, the dovishness that came out from the ECB, from the Federal Reserve, that can immediately change if these commodity prices all of a sudden skyrocket, if there's some sort of event. I mean, don't forget, like, yes, inflation has come down a long way, but we're not at the 2% target, right? You're at between 3 to 4%, depending on what metric you look at. And when you look at the core component, that is still sticky and high up there. When you look at rent and housing, it's still up there. And yes, food as well, it's still up there. But what happens if one of these commodities, whether it's grains or let's talk about oil, all of a sudden skyrockets and shoots up? You're literally one move, if you think about it from a commodity point of view, especially when you look at crude oil, you're one move away, a massive move away from the shit hitting the fan, from the central banks reacting like, oh shoot, right? What would happen if these commodity prices go up? What would happen if crude oil goes up? Your headline CPI goes up. And then you get pricing all over again from the bond market, right? What's the bond market going to do? It's going to sell off. Yield's going to go up. Central banks are going to say, okay, we got to hike again, right? Even though they sounded dovish, they still left the door open for another rate hike. They can pause and then hike again, like we've seen with Bank of Canada. So many things can come out of this, and it's important to watch this, and it's not done yet. And as the central banks have told us that, you could see inflation stick around for some time, and we might see some spikes, and that's why they give this narrative that, inflation might take until 2025 for it to come down, especially if the economy is still okay and fine, if nothing breaks. Right? You can get these sudden spikes because of what's happening globally, like with India or this deal here with the Ukraine and Russia. So very interesting article here. Again, I'll put these two articles in the description for you to check it out and read up on it. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button to be notified, and also, the bell icon to be notified on the next video. And I'll see you guys around. Cheers and bye.